Okay, welcome back. I'm a little behind on the hockey reviews. I actually have 3 days to get caught up on, so let's dive in right now. We had the New York as the Rangers played host to the Islanders. We'll take a look and see how this one went. So in the first period, Chris Kreider, Mr. Ranger himself, will get a shorthanded goal. The guy's always scoring shorthanded goals or power play goals. The guy is Mr. Clutch, to say the least. That'd be his seventh goal of the year, assisted by Zibanejad, 344 of the first frame. In the second period, Vincent Trocheck would make it 2-0, getting his third goal of the year from Riley Smith a minute 21 into the second frame, giving the Rangers a 2-0 lead. Casey Zikas would finally get the Islanders on the board with over 4 minutes into that period, getting his first of the year from Engvall and Holmstrom. Artemi Panarin would get a power play goal, increasing the lead to 3-1. For Panarin, that'd be his 8th goal of the year from Zibanejad and Adam Fox. Brock Nelson would cut the deficit to 3-2 with 8 seconds remaining. For Nelson, that'd be his 5th goal of the year from Palmieri and Lee. Heading into the third period, the Rangers had a 3-2 lead. Adam Edstrom would get his first goal of the year from Schneider and Zach Jones, 5:18 of the third period, increasing lead to 4-2. The Islanders would pull their goalie with well over 4 minutes to go. Artemi Panarin would get his second goal of the game, his 9th of the year from Trouba and Zibanejad. So the Rangers would win the Battle of New York by a final score 5-2. Winnipeg played host to the Tampa Bay Lightning. A high-scoring game in this matchup. So in the first period, Brandon Hagel will get his 7th goal of the year, unassisted over 6 minutes into the first period, giving the Lightning a 1-0 lead. Braden Point would increase lead to 2-0, getting his 8th goal of the year from Kucherov and Hedman, 8:02 of the first frame. Vladislav Namestnikov, who played with the Lightning before, would get the Jets their first goal of the game, his 3rd of the year from Morrissey. And that goal happened 12:23 of the first period. So the Lightning had a 2-1 lead. In the second period, Logan Stanley would get his first goal of the year from Nick Ehlers over 5 minutes into the second frame, tying the game up at 2. Mark Scheifele would give the Jets their first lead of the game, his 7th of the season, assisted by Velarde, 7:36 of the second frame. Mitchell Chaffee would tie the game up just over 8 minutes into that game, into the second period, I should say, getting his 4th goal of the year from Gensel and Nick Paul. So we were all tied up at 3 heading into the third period. Alex Iafallo would get his first goal of the season, a power play marker from Niederreiter and Perfetti, over 4 minutes into the third period. Nikita Kucherov would tie the game up, getting his 10th goal of the season, unassisted, 6:51 of the third. Dylan Sandberg would score less than a minute after that, reclaiming the lead, getting his 3rd goal of the year from Connor and DeMello. Nick Ehlers would get an empty net goal, increasing the lead to 6-4. For Ehlers, I should say, that would be his 8th goal of the season, assisted by Scheifele and Namestnikov. And that goal happened with 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go. The Lightning pulled their goalie again in hopes of a comeback, but unfortunately it did not pan out, as Cole Perfetti would get the empty net goal, their 2nd empty net goal of the game, his 4th of the season, from Josh Morrissey. And that goal happened with 37 seconds remaining in the game. So the Jets would win big, 7-4. The Boston Bruins played host to the Seattle Kraken. Justin Brazeau would kick things off 3:23 of the first period, getting his 4th goal of the year from Zadorov and Charlie McAvoy. And then Charlie Coyle would give the Bruins a 2-0 lead. For Coyle, that'd be his 2nd goal of the season, a power play goal from Marchand and Elias Lindholm. So that'd be the final score. There'd be no scoring in the second or third period. Jeremy Swayman, after signing that massive contract just prior to the start of the season, is finally starting to show that he might be worth every nickel. I would say pennies, but pennies are a thing of the past. Carolina Hurricanes played host to the Washington Capitals. In the first period, Dmitry Orlov would kick things off, getting his 2nd goal of the year from Nicias, 14:01 of the first frame. With 44 seconds to go, Ovechkin would get his 7th goal of the year, a power play marker from Carlson and Strome, tying the game up at 1. Brandon Duhaime would score with just 11 seconds remaining. For Duhaime, that'd be his 2nd goal of the year, assisted by Nick Dowd. So the Capitals had a 2-1 lead heading into the second period. Just over 2 minutes into that middle frame, Martin Necas would tie the game up, getting his 6th goal of the year from Robinson and Kotkaniemi. Orlov would then get his 2nd goal of the game, his 3rd of the year from Necas and Chatfield, giving the Hurricanes a 3-2 lead heading into the 3rd. Late in the 3rd, it would still be 3-2. The Capitals would pull their goalie, and Andrei Svechnikov would capitalize on the empty net goal with just 9 seconds remaining. So 4-2 would be the final score in favor of the Hurricanes. The Minnesota Wild played host to the Toronto Maple Leafs. So in the first period, Ryan Hartman would kick things off, getting his 3rd goal of the year from Gaudreau and Spurgeon, 10-19 of that same period. With 52 seconds remaining, William Nylander would tie the game up at 1, getting his 9th goal of the year, a power play goal from Matthews and Mitch Marner. There was no scoring in the 2nd or the 3rd. We would need overtime to settle this one, and Matt Boldy would get the game-winning goal, his 6th of the season from Rossi and Spurgeon, 2:14 of the overtime frames. The Wild would win in overtime. The Edmonton Oilers were in Calgary for the Battle of Alberta. In the first period, Leon Draisaitl would kick things off, getting his 9th goal of the season from Podkolzin, I believe, just under a minute into that first period. Jeff Skinner would make it 2-0, getting his 2nd goal of the year from Hyman, 8-12 of the first period. So the Oilers had a 2-0 lead heading into the 2nd period. Just a lone goal to report in the 2nd. Anthony Mantha would strike, getting his 4th goal of the season, a power play goal from Tyson Barrie, formerly played with the Oilers, and the captain, Backlund, just over 4 minutes into the 2nd period. So Oilers are holding on to a 2-1 lead heading into the 3rd. Igor Sharangovich would tie the game up, getting his 1st of the season from Ball, 4:28 of the 3rd frame. Just over 10 minutes into that period, Zach Hyman would strike, giving the Oilers a 3-2 lead. For Hyman, that'd be his 2nd goal of the year, a power play goal from Nugent Hopkins and Leon Draisaitl. The Flames would pull their goalie, and just like a lot of times I say this, not trying to sound like a broken record, but the opposing team would capitalize. In this case, it would be Matthias Janmark who would get credited with the empty net goal from Draisaitl and Darnell Nurse. And that goal happened with just 3 seconds to go in the game. So the Oilers would win with a final score, 4-2. And the last game from Sunday took place in Anaheim as the Ducks played host to the Chicago Blackhawks. Isaac Phillips would get his 1st goal of the year from Bedard and Hall, 12:57 of the 1st frame. Taivo Teravainen would make it 2-0, getting his 4th goal of the year, a power play goal from Hall and Vlasic. So heading into the 2nd period, the Blackhawks had a 2-0 lead. Late in the 2nd, with just under 2 minutes to go, Seth Jones would capitalize on a power play, getting his 2nd goal of the year from Bedard and Lucas Reichel. So the Blackhawks had a 3-0 lead heading into the 3rd. Brock McGinn would finally get the Ducks on the board, getting his 2nd goal of the year, assisted by Johnston, 10:16 of the 3rd. Ryan Donato would increase the lead to 4-1, getting his 7th goal of the year from Bedard and Kurashev with 2 minutes and 17 seconds to go in the game. Mason McTavish would get a very late goal, getting a power play marker, his 1st of the year from Terry and Strome, with 4 seconds remaining. So that's where we'd stand at the end of regulation. All right, that's going to take care of Sunday's recap from the NHL season. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, and as always, take care.